And the first thing I do is open the hood and I take the brake cap off the brake reservoir here. Okay, I bought some Akabono brake pads from Rock Auto. They were $50 with shipping. I have brake cleaner that if I need it, I have it. I have my pliers. I have this slide glide that will let you lubricate all the parts of the brake if you want. My wrench, screwdriver, a C-clamp. Akabono gives you their own grease, and it says in the warranty that if you don't use their own grease on the actual brake pads, they'll void the warranty. So I'm going to use it as stupid grease instead of my grease that's really easy. You have to use this stupid little I'm going to mess with, which is surprisingly, because usually I take the whole caliper off, but these 14 mil bolts or 14 millimeter bolts back here that hold on to the right here, let's say it has the little spongy rubber for the glides. There's two of them. You just got to take those out. In fact, you could lay this whole piece on top of the rotor and no problems. Just keep your fingers away from the rotor. And since this is the first time I'm doing this brakes, I don't have to worry about the rotor having to be replaced or be milled or anything like that. The car doesn't have any problems. I'm just doing this in advance because the car's got like 4 or 5 years on it now, and I want to get the brakes done. And every time I go to the dealer, they say, "Hey, you need brakes," and you know how the dealer like extends it like forever. They've been telling me for 2 years I need brakes. Well, I finally decided maybe I do need brakes now. So we're going to just take this piece off here. This is part of the caliper. It's not the full caliper, and then we'll show you the rest. Pads have directions. There's a front and there's a back and front, and there's an up and down. So when you take it out, you can use a little screwdriver even if you wanted to not touch the surface of the rotor, but that brake pad is pretty shot. It definitely needed it now. And the back one's going to be worse than the front. That's the funny part. If the front looks like that, the back's going to be really bad. Yeah, it's pretty worn out. There's nothing left hardly on that one. Notice how I took it out, and there's a clip up here. This is the clip that starts rubbing and makes noise when you are close to needing a new pad. That came off the top portion of the brake. And the new brake pads have them in different directions and stuff, so you have to be careful what you do. On mine, it's on the top and then the rear. And I don't usually touch the rest of the brake rotor or anything when I do this, but I do have some of this brake cleaner without the, and I just spray it a little bit usually. I didn't do it on the other one, but I'll show you here. Just make sure that you have a clean brake surface where you're putting the brake pads back. Alright, now here's the new brackets. They're bi-directional. You don't have to worry about which one goes where. Just pull the old one out and slide these new ones in. Now these Akabono ones for some reason aren't very tight. These are on there really tight, but the Akabono ones aren't. I think we'll be fine either way. They seem to be tight enough to stay up there. I just don't know why they're not made better. I'm going to spread this, well, that one just ain't going to stay in by itself, I don't think. The other one did on the other side, but when we put the brake pad on, it'll hold on there. So, all right. Here's the brake pad. This is the rear one, so it's going to go in the back, and it's got the little clip on the end. And what you want to do is you have to use their Akabono grease, at least for this part. And what I do is you squeeze it out on there. I hate using this stuff, but it will stop your prevent your brakes from squeaking and stuff. I really don't like this stuff, this packet stuff. I never know if it's coming out properly, and I don't buy it on purpose. They sell it at Auto Depot, AutoZone, and I just ignore this stuff. I don't like using this packeted grease. First of all, it doesn't really stick to the pad very well. And it barely comes out. I mean, I don't even know if there's enough on there yet. Let me see. This is so ridiculous. Oh, use our grease or your warranty on the brake pads are void. You know what? Have you ever had to really turn in a warranty on a brake pad? I mean, I did. But they were the cheapest brake pads I could get at AutoZone, and they were lifetime, and I had a car that had problems, so. Anyway, then you just have to slide it in there, but first put the clip back on that fell off. Okay, I got that one in. Took a little work. Don't be afraid to tap it a little bit with a screwdriver if you have to. I mean, don't smash it or anything. You're going to hurt the brake pad, but I'm putting more of this stupid grease on this thing. This is the part that of all the stuff that I'm doing, this is the part that I don't particularly give a crap about doing. Their grease packs are ridiculous. They just should be satisfied with my own grease that I'm using. Shit. Most people, see, now it's not in properly, but I take a back of a screwdriver and just tap it a little. It's not going to break anything doing that. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to hit it hard for sure, but because you could crack the brake pad, but just that kind of tapping ain't going to do anything. Now, if you want, this is not optional, by the way, but people think it is. I take the pins out of the slide. And I bought this lube. This can lube everything. The brake pads and the slides and everything. It's Sil Glide brake lubricant. Stops brake noises. There's different kinds, so this is the one you really want. It says caliper slides and all contact points. And what I do, and I got it from Walmart. I think it was like $7. So I'll never have to buy another one of these again because it's pretty huge. So I just put it on there. And then you just slide it back in to the slide with the rubber. And, you know, twist these. You could twist them, I guess, but I've had luck just pulling it out like that. Just pull it out. Don't break the rubber, of course. These are looking pretty dry, actually. So I just spread it on there liberally. And you just slide it back in. And that way, your calipers will last longer and they may not stick. You know how calipers sometimes stick. Okay, so all the brake pads are back in. This would have took 5 minutes if not for that one there. So now we got this done. Now we got to take the actual caliper, and you see how it has that cylinder in there. So what we do is we take one of the old brake pads, we place it on there. I'm using a C-clamp. If I had, I would use a really large wrench. Open-end wrench or something, you know, like pliers or something that would do this. But you want to twist this on there until the piston goes all the way in back into the surface back there. At first you're going to say, oh, this ain't working, but in the beginning it's very hard to do. And then finally you get to a point where it won't move anymore. And what I used to do is I used to just hook it up right to the piston. I never used the brake pad like this, but I've been seeing a lot of videos where people are using the brake pad, so I figured, well, I better start trying that. It helps move the pressure towards the entire piston instead of just in one single point. But I've never had brakes failed that I've done, so I don't really know what the deal is with that. I guess some brakes are old and they might break the piston or something if you push it too far. Do this kind of slow, don't try to do it too quickly. It is pushing the fluid back into the brake cylinder. All right, so as soon as I got that, I know I'm good. I'll remove the clamp. And if you could see it, it's a little bit, it's moved in. All right. So I got my grease packet again. And they want it on the actual piston. So here's the piston. I'm gonna, be nice to have another hand here to hold this while you do this. Let's see. There it goes. Yeah, it's coming out now. It just, these packets, if they're gonna do this, they should send you 2 packets. Forget this 1 packet crap. This is ridiculous, actually. Okay, let's get it on here now. I don't know what that does for you. I guess it helps the piston from not sticking to the brake pad and making it hard to come off, but I've never had trouble getting brake pads off. So there you go, that's done. Did their little oil lube thing there. And the brake pad will remain pushed in for quite a long time after you push it in the original time. So don't worry about, oh, I have to get it on there right away and all that. As long as you got that brake over, you know, the brake cap off the master cylinder, you're in good shape. I'm pretty sure, right, now this ain't gonna go in right. Do it all right, and then they, put this back on. This should really take like 5-10 minutes. Because of the video, I'm going a little slower. But I mean, you're talking 5 or 10 minutes for something that, like a dealership would probably charge at $350 for. Probably took me about an hour with jacking the car up and getting everything ready, and the whole total cost is about $50 because the brake pads were $50. You can get cheaper brake pads for this car. I watch Scotty Kilmore, and he's always talking about Bono brake pads, so I wanted to give him a shot this time. And I've been reading that like some of the ones from AutoZone are actually breaking. They're defective. Some of the gold or whatever they use. And so I didn't want to even use any of their knockoff brands and stuff. I think like AutoZone and Discount Auto all use the same stuff. They just put their own label on it, you know. I think they're Bendix actually. But there's some videos out there, so be careful what brake pads you buy. And that should be it. Now when you go in, make sure that you put the cap back on and that you pump the brakes. In fact, I'll probably be pumping them right now, and that's about it. Also, when I took the brake cap and put it back on, this was a top level here. I put a paper towel in and I sucked up a lot of that brake fluid to the point where it went back to full. But because over time I've been putting brake fluid in there, I had too much brake fluid in there. Granted, if you never put brake fluid in yours, you'll probably be fine. I just wanted to show you these brakes after 5 years. I don't know if you could see that, but they're pretty worn down. I think they still had a little life left in them. At least the center one didn't as much, but I don't know. I could have probably went another year like that. But there's no reason. These things are